All right, welcome back to my shop. So now that we created a saw vise, I'm going to give a little bit of a try at sharpening. This is my first time sharpening, and if you saw in the last video, we built this vise that I am using to sharpen with. There are a couple improvements that I could make and have made to it. On the bottom where the hinge was, we put a stick to kind of separate a little where we put the hinge. Well, I took a scrap the same size and stuck it about this level. So when I clamp it into the vise, it doesn't really bend weird, because it was kind of bending weird there, and it kind of supports it a little better. And then it could pivot from that point and hold here. So I did that. I also added in a block here and leveled it. So when I stick this in the vise, right, and drop it down at the table, not only am I level, but I'm at a good height for not only seeing, but sharpening. And another adjustment I will make, but haven't done, is I want to line these jaws with leather, and that'll help hold this a little better. I didn't have enough leather to do it, so we're going to go ahead and try it without. But I'm just basically going to get some cheap leather, put it in here, and then I'm just going to probably contact cement it down or spray adhesive, something like that. So that'll work pretty good. But basically, we're going to go ahead and start sharpening. This is a saw that was filed cross-cut, and I am going to bring the teeth down a little bit, and I'm going to file this saw rip. I don't have a rip saw, so other than my Marple's Dazuki has a rip and a crosscut side. I do use this a lot, and I got it at Home Depot, I think, or Lowe's, but it's basically just a Marple saw. I got it, I was at work and needed a saw, so I ran and picked it up, and I think it made a good good addition to my shop. I seem to grab for it a lot. I don't have a lot of good sharp saws, so this seems to be my go-to one. So I think we're going to come in, we're going to joint this, and then we'll go ahead and sharpen it up. What I have here is just a piece of scrap wood I had in my scrap bin, and I went over to the router and I cut a slot in, and that slot just holds one of my files, right? So what that allows me to do is hold the board up against and run it along the saw. And I can see what's happening is I'm seeing it take off the very tips of all these. Now I'm taking this down a little more because I'm skipping some of the teeth here, and they say you should bring it down. If you're missing one or two, that's not that big of a deal. I'm getting closer, but I'm going to be removing just a little more material because I'm going to straighten these teeth out to a rip pattern. I need a rip saw. I don't have one, so this is going to be my rip. The teeth might be a little too close for a rip, but I'm going to sharpen it that way, and then down the road I can just resharpen it back to normal until I can get a little more dedicated rip saw. Okay. Took a good amount down. And now we'll go ahead and come in and sharpen those. So what I want to do is, now that I jointed this earlier, I saw on one video, I believe it was Paul Sellers, a couple other people I think do it too, but I'm just going to blacken these tips now. I'll go all the way down the saw, and what that'll do is that'll just help me hide the shiny part, so I can make sure I'm cleaning all the way down to bare metal. Okay, I swapped out saws. I took out this saw that I wanted to make rip, and I put it aside because it hit me. Probably not the best idea to go ahead and to change your saw's kind of geometry on my first attempt, right? So I put in the one that's going to be my rip, and I set my gauge, right? And I set it to the profile of the teeth already, which is about angle of I don't know, 20 degrees, 15, somewhere in there, and look like I'm at 10 degrees this way. I'm just trying to go off the thing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do every other tooth because of the way they're angled. So seems like I'm having to take about 6 strokes. Now, you won't have to take that much on substantial sharpenings. This hasn't been sharpened in probably about 60 years. So I had to rejoin it, and so some teeth are a little deeper than others. So what I'm doing is I'm just keeping an eye as I sharpen, and I'm taking away, making sure I come to a nice point, right? And it's definitely, it's easier here than where I was hanging out. You could still do it here. You have to take a couple more strokes. But I'm just going to keep working at it. Now, there's a little bit of a spot untouched in the center, right? I guess it's kind of dished a little. But the back of the tooth, is sharp up at the top, and the front. And the gullet's about midway down. Not too worried about it. Let's see, where was I? Oop. One of the things I'm doing too to help stabilize is I rest my finger on the top, and that just keeps it from turning a little here, and just kind of another stabilization point. Okay, I went ahead and I went down the whole side, and so now I'm going to flip this all around. Okay. Okay, so it's flipped around. I can see the ones I've done. there we go. I'll just keep working my way. Up. See what I did? I have to turn this now to the other side. Now it lines up. Kind of looks like a hillbilly's teeth. I don't know. It's not too bad. It's just not too good either. You can definitely see where I straightened up. It's better back in here than up here. Yeah, it's like a jack-o'-lantern. We'll see. I mean, it's my first time sharpening. Is it sharper? Oh, definitely. Yeah, I can tell it's much sharper. You can even, like, my gloves are kind of catching on it compared to, you know. So I'll keep going. Hopefully I get better. It's not great. My first attempt, it's not bad, I'm sure. A lot of the people who are much better at this will laugh at this job, but I'll keep going. Okay, well, jack-o'-lantern teeth is done. Hillbilly teeth saw, whatever we want to call it. We can give it a test cut. It's got to be better, I guess. I think I got to be more consistent in my angles and my stroke length. I think that's where I went wrong. I'm going to take you in closer, and then we'll try cutting a board. It's a little hillbilly-ish, but you can definitely feel it. I mean, they're sharp. They grab you a little. So let's try cutting a board. Well, it's cutting. It's cutting better than it did. It could use a little more set. I don't have a saw set for it. I'll have to get one. Okay, now that we went ahead and basically did that saw, and you know, I'm not really that happy with it, I decided to come back and try this saw. Let's face it, I knew I was going to do a great job on my first time. And it works. I wasn't too crazy. But this saw only really needs a minor touch-up. So I set up my guide here. And I'm just going to go, and I'm going to try and practice to be more consistent. Another thing, I forgot to blacken. Okay. these are looking a lot better. I'm not taking off. I didn't join down as far, which I think really helped because I'm taking 2 passes, not like 7. So it's real easy to keep them a lot more consistent. So I'm just going to keep going. Okay, I'll just go ahead and flip this around. Let's go ahead and do the other side. So the one thing I have to do is change my angle. Okay, this one looks a whole lot better. Just a whole lot better. And I'll get close-ups of them so you can see the difference in the 2 saws. But you can feel it. You can just feel how sharp it is. I wound up doing 2 passes, and then I realized I wasn't really going deep enough, so I did 3, and then I went back and did 1 on the other side to even everything up. I was leaving a little bit of the black left from the Sharpie, which means I wasn't really getting down to a point. I did this one. This one doesn't cut that good. It needs to be set. There's really no set whatsoever left on these teeth. I don't have a saw set that will do this few teeth. I have one for a larger saw. This one, needs to be reset, and that'll help. I'll take a picture of it so you can see it. This one here, I did a much better job at sharpening, and I'll show you that one. And cuts pretty well. It's still not the best, but it's my second saw. This one didn't need to be set. So I think we're good. I sharpened them. I got more saws, more practice. They cut better than they did, and I think as I get steadier, and I was much steadier with this one, the tooth geometry will get a little better and a little less jagged, and I think we'll be good. So okay, until next time, thanks for coming to my shop.